I know, yeah, I don't know. How many of are here since morning? You can raise hands. Oh God. Thank you. Are you guys comfortable? Fine. I promise I do. I will not take a lot of time and I will try to keep it interesting. Definitely I'm nervous. I am having a little bit of jitters. So help me out wherever required. How many students in the house? Can we have some hands? Wow, okay, that's cool, that's cool. How many artists? Oh, amazing. I want everyone to give a shout out to my co-founder Sriram, who's in the house attending the talk. Claps for him. Okay, awesome. Okay, designing characters with impact. Let's start with a hello and also a little bit about me. And that's me and my little ones. My wife is a little shy, so she didn't want to be part of the picture. But that's my small family. And I think Mayank already gave an introduction. I am co-founder of Little Red Zombies, a studio formed by me and Sriram about 14 years ago. We focus on characters and we have done some really amazing work for AAA video games. Last year, during my sabbatical, I realized a deep passion towards teaching and founded Zombie Art School with a mission to enable artists to achieve excellence in the field of 3D character art. But if I have to also describe myself, not in these boring terms, but let's say we have a lot of youngsters, so let's use hashtags. So if I have to describe myself as in hashtags, I would say I am a coffee lover, big time coffee lover. Any coffee lovers in the house? And I am a serial podcast listener. That's Stephen Bartlett, someone who is a big inspiration. And this is the next things are not what I say about myself, but my family and close ones would say. A disciplined dictator, and also an advice-giving monster. So my advice to all of you is not asking me for any advice. Because once I start, it's really hard for me to stop. So let's get started with our talk for today. As a character artist, I always thought that when we get these really, really cool designs or concepts, as a character artist, it's the job to interpret that character into a 3D space, right? But we are not really creating those designs, we are interpreting them and doing them in 3D. So what is character design? Let's start with a simple question and understand the meaning behind this word. Character design is a process that involves developing the visual appearance, the personality, and the style of the character. So the visual appearance is whatever you're seeing in terms of the physicality of the character. The personality might be more with the nature. It's not really easy to capture, but a good design is able to also show the personality of the character very well. And style, I think this is something would be a little bit more familiar, where we can talk about things which are realistic, stylized, cartoony, and there are these infinite variations and combinations of styles, right? And it's up to the designer, the art director to choose what style they would want to develop the characters in. And just also focus on this word called process over here. And the reason why I say it's a process is because designing is very iterative. You would never really have a time when you imagine a certain design in your mind and you have it on the paper or your computer or wherever. It's very iterative. You would make a lot of mistakes, and eventually through the journey by improvising, you would hopefully come to a design that will be pretty nice and cool. And then also, it's not done alone. Ideally, should be done in collaboration, professionally with your art director, your leads, the designer. If you're trying to do personal artwork, I would say to show to your friends, to show to your family as well if required, to your peer group. And through this process, you would be able to get started, I would say at least. And then moving on now, let's say as a character artist, you might ask, what should I focus on? Let me have some focus points that will help me create a good design or have some good anchor points, right? So the first thing, we'll split it into two parts. We'll focus on functionality that defines the construction and build of the character. So anything that you see in your character art or anything that you're trying to design should serve a certain function. If it's not serving any function, then it will not really create the kind of impact that you're trying to do, right? Because let's say if you're having these belts over here, the pouches, they are trying to serve a certain function for the character. And each and every element is there to serve a certain purpose. And apart from that, we are also trying to focus on the design aesthetics. Something that artists would be very familiar with would be silhouette and proportions. Other aesthetics such as the art style and also color play. So if you look at the image, okay, it's quite visible, I would say. So the image on the right, so we have this evil-looking armored knight, and the art style, you could say, is hyper-realistic. The silhouette and proportions are spiky and exaggerated to give that evil appeal for the character. And even the color, like let's say using the dark tones and the red tones, is helping us get that evil or a scary vibe from the character, right? So everything is serving the design over here. And we'll also quickly understand some key elements that are involved in designing characters. These elements are there to help us again take better decisions. And while we'll go in a order, there's nothing like this is more important or less important. Everything is interdependent on each other. And yes, let's get started with the story and the background. The story and the background defines the history, the experience, and the worldview of your character. And let's say we have some examples of popular characters, which is Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider, Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. And the reason, let's say, I chose a few popular characters because we all are aware of their history and the journey, right? So Lara Croft in the rebooted Tomb Raider, she doesn't really start out as a badass, you know, right? She's stranded on this island where she has to now survive, fight for her survival. And through that journey, she kind of evolves as a character where we are able to see her as the badass that we know. And Jin Sakai already starts as a pretty strong character, a samurai who lives by a code of honor. And when his land is invaded by the Mongols, through his journey, he understands that probably he has to evolve his sense of honor, where he'll have to do whatever it takes to defeat the enemies so that he can protect his people. So there's a journey, there's an evolution that is happening. And another popular ones would be for Kratos, starting from this angry young god who wants to just pretty much kill anything in its path. And then again, rediscovering love through parenthood and through mentoring. He kind of is able to channelize his anger to be more stoic, to be more calm, and then be the father that he needs to be to his son, right? And then a character is not just complete with the story. There is also a world and setting that they would inhabit. And we have some examples of an alien world on the left and the cyberpunk city from the cyberpunk. And okay, the one on the left is from this game called Another World, one of the first games to really render an alien planet in the 90s. And the player over here is discovering this world for the first time, and which is kind of like a mirroring for us as well, where we, along with this character, are seeing this world. And a pretty amazing game. And then we have Witcher 3, which is like a fantasy setting. And what we're going to do is quickly go through a few settings that are typically seen in games, starting with real life. We have fantasy. We have futuristic. So let's say cyberpunk is real life with a futuristic setting, mixing with a little bit of fantasy. And then Witcher over here is fantasy with medieval. And then we can have post-apocalyptic settings, which are seen in games like Fallout, and then also otherworldly and alien. It's not just the setting, but also understanding what's pretty much happening in the world, which is quite important. Where is the world in a war era or a post-war era, in a peaceful era? What kind of conflicts are going through, and what kind of political structure can also occur over there? So this kind of helps us ground a good story, a good background for the character. Because imagine if Geralt from Witcher is taken from the Witcher universe and just put in cyberpunk. It's not really going to work out, right? Like, he doesn't really belong over there. So the character should belong to the world and setting that they're a part of. And role and function, just defining or identifying the role or the purpose that the character would play would also help in the designing aspect. Like typically, we can have a hero, we can have a villain, and we can also have supporting characters. We'll also explore this thing a little bit more later with concepts of archetypes. And then, okay, let me just go back a little bit. We can talk about the physical appearance with silhouettes, and we have some really iconic silhouettes over here, where we can, the moment we look at the silhouettes, we are able to identify, okay, there's Mega Man, there's Sonic, there is Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and through the design, the designers paid attention to the silhouette in such an intricate way where the moment you look at these characters, even from a distance, like a small image itself should be impactful and identifiable. And then we can move on to proportions, and we have some examples of games from Overwatch. Yeah, and all these characters are from Overwatch, and we can see Bastion on the left, where we can, just by the proportion and the silhouette, we are able to identify that he's like a big, tanky-like character, which would take a lot of hits and just not die easily. And someone on the extreme right, I don't know the name. Can you know who that engineer kind of character is? Okay, I think everyone might have heard, but yeah. But the moment you look at it, we are able to say, yeah, he's like a more crafty guy who will probably make some stuff and just kind of be crafty with his ways. So together with silhouette and proportions, we are able to identify some very distinctive features which should be making this character very memorable. So let's play a small game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a silhouette in front of you guys, okay? You just have to identify what character it is. Is everyone ready? So who is this? Are you sure? Lock kar diya jaye. Are you sure it's Luigi? Okay, time for the big reveal. Oh no. That is Steve from Minecraft who decided to troll everyone along with me. My apologies, but I like to have a little bit of fun every now and then. So, okay, moving on, let's also talk about visual appeal. And we can start with color schemes and materials. And again, we are seeing not game characters, but really iconic and popular characters from Michael Jackson, one of my favorites on the left. And if you think about Michael Jackson from Thriller, you cannot imagine MJ without his red leather jacket and hot red pants. Though it has to be synonymous. It has to be synonymous with Michael Jackson from Thriller, right? Similarly, Luke Skywalker from his pilot avatar in the Star Wars, Uma Thurman from Kill Bill. The moment you talk Kill Bill, you would remember Uma Thurman with her yellow biker suit. We have Walter White from Breaking Bad, the girl from Wizard of Oz, Austin Powers in his Velvety Delight, and we have on the extreme right Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And again, for Willy Wonka, you can never really have Willy Wonka without his purple suit, right? Even the recent movie, it's like a prequel to Willy Wonka called Wonka, where you can see the lead character again wearing the purple suit. And then we can explore a little bit more of the art styles and some examples from my favorite games. Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 4, where the style is realistic. And on the extreme right, we have, did anyone play this game? Prince of Persia. Yeah, so do you know the character? I'm forgetting the name, so I need help again. Sargon, yeah. So we have Sargon from Prince of Persia, which is more stylized, a little, I would not say very cartoony, but stylized to a point where we are easily able to identify all the elements for the character. And then we have Emily from Dishonored in the middle, which is kind of a mix of realistic and stylized. And there is no right or wrong style. It all comes down to the decision, like what kind of style you want to make. And that defines the art style over there. And then we also want to look at visual coherence. And we have an image from Diablo over here. And Diablo is this dark, gritty game, right? Where everything is very dark, very almost monotonous. So when we see all the characters on the scene, while they would be having different material types, different color schemes, everything should serve that part of visual coherence, which makes Diablo. So even if you look at the red rogue on the right, even though she's wearing a red color clothing, it's very muted, very desaturated, which kind of suits the tone for Diablo. And as I said, we'll talk about archetypes and how, when designing characters, if you choose or define the archetype early on, it'll just make your designing process that much more easier. So again, examples from Diablo, but ignoring the type of characters, we'll just talk about what an archetype is. So archetype is the role and the personality that a character is supposed to enact, or the character is about. The role and the personality would lead us to understanding the function and the behavior that the character would do, right? So let's say we have a role of a thief. For example, we have a role of a thief. What will be the behavior of thief? What does thief do? He steals, right? So the role would define the function. But let's say if the personality of the thief is that he is a kind-hearted thief, like Robin Hood. So he'll steal from the rich and he'll give to the poor. So the role and the personality defines the function and behavior. And the more strongly you have identified the core of the character, the better you're able to take decisions, because it makes the rule set, and you cannot really break the rule set then, right? You cannot really have, let's say, a role of a merchant who would steal. A merchant can be cunning, because that will be, let's say, a cunning personality, and merchant who would trade and sell. So that kind of helps you put good boundaries, and you're able to take better decisions that way. And we are going to have another small, a game. This time I promise I'll not troll anyone, but we are going to play an archetype game, where what we're going to do is we're going to look at some really iconic characters, and we'll try to identify key traits, 3 key traits that would be part of that character. So I have an example here, Master Chief from Halo, who is heroic, determined, and super soldier. So super soldier is the role that he is, the role that he has, and determined and heroic probably are his personalities, right? So let's get started, and I hope this works well. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to write it as I get some answers. So what do you think about Kratos? Sorry, you have to be a little loud. Okay, vengeful, yes. Oh, sorry. Okay. So what we'll do, I'm just going to play from the current side. And probably it'll come back. Sorry, so we cannot really, cannot really write, but I'll just take the answers. So vengeful is one, yes. Vengeful, furious can be combined, but is he furious still? Understanding. Stoic, yeah, I'll take stoic. Calm and reasonable. Okay, calm, reasonable will lead to the stoicism, which makes him stoic, and then vengeful. But what about his personality? Like when you look at him, what is he playing? Huh? Warrior. So like he's the strong, godlike warrior who is stoic, and there was one more, right? Vengeful, impatient, yeah. But I think we got pretty close, which is good. So ready for the next one? That's good stuff. So we have Joel from Last of Us. One by one. I think I'll take some hands. That'll be nice. Sorry, father? Can you elaborate a little bit more? Caring. Oh, yes. Trust issues? Huh? Survival. Yeah, that's a good one. So the role he is playing is of a survival, yes. Fatherly love and merciless, yes, because he is kind of impulsive because of his protective, yes, because of his protective nature, where he doesn't mind killing innocent people to protect his loved ones, right? So we have for Joel, and then let's go to the next one. I think it's a popular one, Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Let's identify 3 key characteristic traits. Charming, yes, that's a good one. Stealth. Assassin, that's in the name. Assassin. Charming assassin. And fearless. I mean, like, yeah, it is a part of it. Mysterious, that comes with the assassin, yes. because he's an assassin, he has to be mysterious. Charming, see, all assassins in the Assassin's Creed games are assassins, right? But there is certain, something about their personality that makes them unique. So for Ezio, he's a charming assassin. And we had Edward Convoy from Assassin's Creed 4 who was cunning. So I think we'll go with 2, considering the time as well. So archetypes are not just heroes, like we took examples of heroes or maybe anti-heroes, but they don't always need to be heroes. They can be, well, yeah, they can be villains, sidekicks, mentors. They can be sorcerer, anti-hero, explorer, or they can also be a comic relief, thief, or a merchant, right? And there are just so many archetypes that we can have, like many, many more archetypes. And the better you're able to define this archetype, the easier it becomes for you to take decisions to design character. Would you agree now? Cool, awesome, awesome. I'm more on the mentorship mode, where I have to always take feedback. Hey, is this fine? Did you understand? So please don't mind that. So let's take a look at the entire chart that we covered so far. So as I said, everything is interdependent on each other. So considering the story, the world, the role function, the appearance, the visual style, and the archetypes, we are able to derive better context. We are able to understand the context of the character that we are trying to create. And as designers, it is a play of balance. The better we are able to find balance between these elements, the better we are able to ensure that we are able to identify and understand the context and create that balance, the better we are able to create designs which might be impactful. And let's also quickly understand how to build these design aesthetics. Let's say you're an artist, but also want to try, maybe you're designers already, but also want to, or artists who want to do a little bit of designing yourself. So how to build those aesthetics? Understand the context of what you're trying to create. And if you are not creating that context, know who's defining that context. It can be the art director, it can be your lead, it can be the story writer, the script writer. Understand, but knowing the context is the starting point. The context should, because it will give you the archetype, it will make the rule set, and then you're able to take better decisions through that. Indulge in deep research and breakdowns. Once you have understood the character you need to make, spend time to understand all the elements, all the personality traits, everything that you can do for that character that you want to design. The more you're able to draw from, the better decisions, again, you're able to take. And for artists, and not just artists, I would say pretty much anyone who wants to be a designer, keep developing your strong knowledge base and visual library, because again, that's something you're able to draw out of from, right? And moving on, specifically for artists, continue to strengthen your core art fundamentals, because if you don't have the skills, we cannot really show all the awesome designs that you're thinking. And then some of the best practices when designing characters, know that it is an iterative process. I will show some of my designs later on, and I will also talk about how much failing is painful, but it's part of the process. You have to agree that it's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. And it can be frustrating, and trying to design, make your own design, and trying to also create artwork at the same time. But if you have signed up for it, know that it's going to be part of the process. And collaborate. Collaborate with your leads, collaborate with writers, collaborate with your team members, family. The more collaboration you have, the better you're able to, actually you're able to move faster because of that. Because what happens as artists is we get tunnel visioned into our artwork, and it becomes really hard for us to identify our own mistakes. And then having someone who's just there to give constructive criticism, not just saying, hey, it's awesome, or hey, it's bad, but constructive criticism, just saying that what works, what doesn't work, really helps you move forward. And do not strive to achieve coolness. This is my favorite one. A lot of times that we would want to make characters cool. Like, who doesn't want to make cool characters? Can raise hands. But the thing is, coolness is very subjective, right? I might like horror themes. You might like Pokemon, maybe. But everyone has their own idea about what is cool. And you cannot really define that this is correct or wrong, so it's very subjective. So do not strive to achieve that. As long as you have understood all the right design decisions that you need to take, you'd probably come up with a design which would be cool to the people or the audience who like that kind of work. And also the balancing act again. So we want to make sure all the elements that help in designing the character are well balanced. Because if anything is in excess or probably something that has not been thought out would probably tilt the balance, right? And going through some of my own designs, we have Link over here, where Link, I would not say it's not my design. Of course, I cannot claim that, but it's a redesign where I wanted to recreate Link in a realistic avatar, where it's part of a more dark, gritty world. The Link is more serious because typically if you have seen Link from Legend of Zelda games, how many players, Legend of Zelda? Yo, awesome. So Link is very fun-loving. He's kind of childlike, and he just has a lot of fun around. But yeah, of course, he is also heroic. But yeah, this Link is supposed to be a bit more serious, a bit more mature. And the challenging part was to ensure all the complex designs that I'm trying to make are well balanced. So that was really challenging, and it was pretty frustrating because this one took about 8 to 9 months to finish all the character. And what I've also realized is if you're trying to make your own designs, you can pretty much double up the time it takes to make a work because designing is just that much daunting. And then we have something from the Elden Ring or Souls-like universe, something inspired from there, an armored beast knight, who also, where I also wanted to communicate themes of cursed or a doomed knight. So when you look at it, probably you're able to build a certain story or narrative for yourself, and some of those themes that I was trying to communicate. And also, I am a big-time fan of Doom, so I wanted to pay homage to Doom by making my own sci-fi strong barbarian. So we have this bulky, strong guy with futuristic sci-fi themes and Doomslayer vibes. And something you would know now in common would be I always get inspired by the games I play, and I want to make my own designs or my own versions. And so finally, what creates an impact? The personality, something about the action or the motivation or the goals that resonate so deeply that they become unforgettable about the character, or maybe sticky, they just stick to your mind. So that hopefully would help you create impact. So thank you, and I hope that was helpful.
I hope it was a longer session.
I'm glad it was short.
All right, guys, we still have quite a lot of time for the Q&A. Please raise arms if you have questions. Sure.
Hi, Ankit. I have a question.
Hello.
When designing your own character, there comes a point when you have to decide, like, yeah, this is done. So when do you decide, like, you should not add more to your character and move to the next process?
It's never done, really. But one way you can set a certain target is by having clear timelines. Create a clear map of what you want to achieve. Write down the goals. Create a clear set of goals you want to achieve. The more you're able to identify the goals, write them down, and then create a very clear timeline that you want to have a breakdown for. The better you're able to do that, you should be then able to move on because you have a timeline to meet. Because if you're going to just go gonzo, where we are not going to think, and I want to make something cool, that's how it starts for all of us, right? We are motivated, we want to make something really awesome. But yeah, be a little grounded and just understand what you're trying to create then.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Hello. What I struggle with most is breaking the silhouette slash color blocking when designing characters. Like I can make characters that are easy to rig, that work from a technical perspective, but the actual like squint test, as they say, right? They often fail the squint test. How would you like design a process that helps you pass the squint test so that even when someone's looking at it just for like a second, it just sticks in their mind, as you said, right?
Yeah.
Sticky characters. What's your process for such a thing? What's your like
Yeah.
magnum opus?
Let's say when you have identified what you want to create, right? The thing about silhouettes is you never really want to have flat straight lines or flat straight curves. You want to keep trying to add something that would be able to break it first, and then you want to pay attention to the curves. Whenever you have flat, straight, parallel looking things, those are boring. Like imagine if I was just standing like this all the time, that's going to be boring, right? So identify points or areas where you can break it as much as possible, but in a logical way. It shouldn't be there for the sake of it. Decoration is still, it can be part of the function, where decoration is functionality, but pay attention to straight lines or flat, parallel looking lines. That will help you break it. And what was the next one, sorry?
Color blocking. So I have a color that I've decided for this character. This is going to represent, let's say, fire. I have a beetle that sets fires to things and so on and so forth, right? I've chosen red as the primary color. That's fine. How do you, the thing I struggle with is, how do I break just like, the colors apart? So that when it's looking at it, it's not just like a red blob.
Yeah.
It actually has like details to it.
You want to make sure you always have contrast between colors. You cannot really even, let's say the character is red, Michael Jackson red, right? So there is a contrast with materials, like leather jacket and maybe not a shiny leather pants, probably it's just normal, with a few black highlights. So you want to have some contrasting elements with some color, so that will also break the monotony. And that will be helpful. You can try that.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, Kaustubh here. I wanted to ask a question regarding character design. So, like when you know what you are drawing, right? Suppose a space barbarian or a sci-fi archer or whatever. So there is this R&D we are supposed to do, right? So how do you decide in what direction you are supposed to take your research?
Define the goals. What are you trying to make the character for? Is the character for a game? If it's for a game, is it a mobile game? Is it an RTS? Is it a AAA game? If it's a 2D game, what kind of style is it? Is it pixel art style? Is it stylized? Is it something like from Rayman? Define the goals. The moment you have defined the goal, you would know the technical requirements for that goal. Because 2D art might have pixel requirements, right?
Yeah.
And 3D would have poly count, texture resolution. And considering the platform you're trying to build for, you're able to then have clear technical requirements.
Okay, thank you for clearing it out.
Thank you.
I had a question about style guides, considering we are going to be collaborating with like multiple people. How do we create a consistent style among a whole team of artists?
Having a reference pack which would communicate the kind of style you're going for. And then very early on, once you have your reference pack, once you have kind of identified the kind of mood you want to quickly make a few visual representation, maybe through concept art or maybe some quick 3D sketches. Get that approved by the art director, which makes the style guide. You need to have some content done and approved with the art director or by yourself, which kind of makes a consistent style guide. Once that happens, you can define the rule sets that make the style. So, okay, I'm not going to have any desaturated tones. I'm going to use only vibrant colors. Identify what are the things which are synonymous between all the characters that were done and define the style guide from there. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi Ankit. So, designing characters for AAA games titles is a different thing. And when we talk about the mobile gaming, what difference or what challenges are there?
The screen size. That is the biggest one.
How you manage, I mean, the detailing and the mesh?
So we don't have much experience, I'll be very frank, with the mobile characters, but readability comes down. So you have limited pixels, you have about 2 inches. So you want to make sure the silhouette, the proportions are exaggerated, even if it's realistic, just to the point where everything is readable. We do not zoom in to define the small things because they're never going to be seen. So if you're going to have a zipper, you're going to maybe scale up the zipper so that it's a bit more readable. Laces will be a bit more thicker for the shoes. Just all the decisions that would make things readable from on the small screen that you're playing with.
Is there any limitations in AAA titles for polygon count? Or, I mean, in mobile it is there.
everything has technical limitations, not just gaming. Even VFX in movies would have a certain limitation because rendering is still real, right? They would still have to render the frames. We just have more to play with. So maybe mobile gaming might have 10,000 polygons limitation typically. AAA gaming might have 80,000 polygons. 2 or 3 4K textures. Mobile gaming has 2048 or 1024 texture size. But limitations are real. Like budget and money is real, even that is real.
Yeah, thank you, Ankit. And it was fantastic presentation.
Thank you so much.
I'm here. So
Hands, I need to see you. Sorry.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So apart from the stuff that you've worked on, what character designs which character designs inspire you or do you find particularly impressive and why?
I think all the designs I create are inspired from the games I play. So a lot of firm software games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, I love those games. A big fan of Legend of Zelda because that's something is just so mesmerizing. What else? Doom, of course. I love creatures, I love monster, I love horror themes as well. I'm a big fan of Alan Wake, Resident Evil, so yeah.
Hi Ankit, myself Yash. So I'm a game artist. As you said, the Link character that you made, it took you 8 months or 9 months, however the time span is. I just wanted to ask you, as a character designer, how do you deal with procrastination and stuff? Because it took you 9 months, and 9 months is a long time.
Yeah. Okay, this is a trick I discovered about a year back. And I think it works for me. I'm not sure if it will work for everyone, but I'll share you my trick. I never finish anything. If I'm working in a day, I make sure if something is finished, I immediately start something and I'll not finish it. Because when I come back to it the next day, it's easy for me to get started. So never finish anything in the day. The moment you have finished your task, just start something else. Because it makes it easy to come back. Starting is always the most difficult thing. I think that kind of works for me. Maybe it might work for you.
Thank you.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you that earlier in the talk you said that the character should fit in with the world.
Yeah.
And for example, if the character is from another realm entirely, he should not fit in the world. That's the thing I'm about to portray. So how should I go about that?
Define rules, man. Define your rules, even if it's going to be, like we had this example of another world, right? Where just a normal human entering the alien planet. Define the story, the background of what's really happening. Define the context. If you don't have the context, you can just keep running around. But make a rule set for that context and then do that. It can be, even you are, as you said, you're kind of combining themes. It's all possible as long as it's believable.
So should I just make some subtle changes to the character's outfit or something to express these changes?
I mean, I need to understand more before I'm able to give answer. Maybe you can show me after the talk and maybe I'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Hello. I have a question. Thanks for the awesome talk, by the way.
Thank you.
I really love it. Amazing.
Thank you.
So I have two questions. One is, what are the fundamentals? If you just want to provide kind of a list of fundamentals in a nutshell, what that would be. And my second question would be, how much you're relying on the 2D process? So for example, let's say you're making a character costume, and if you want to make some changes to it, so if you're directly doing it in 3D, you're going to ZBrush and making those changes, or are you coming to 2D and then making those changes?
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think fundamentals. See, firstly, I'll like to give a resource point. I would say you can listen to videos from Fengzhu, Proco, because these guys cover fundamentals amazingly.
Right.
I think those are better resources to talk about understanding fundamentals. Coming to the second question about if I do 2D work, right? So I'm bad at drawing. I cannot draw. So I do most of my concepting in 3D. A lot of exploration is done over there. But every now and then, I try to flex whatever 2D abilities I have and make a small paint over for areas where it's getting a little difficult to figure out. I constantly keep looking at the references I'm drawing inspiration from, and I try to come up with design solutions. But that is me. If you're able to draw, yes, you should constantly shuffle and understand what is working for you.
Yeah. And the second question?
Can you repeat again? Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you answer. Thanks.
Hello. I wanted, yeah, I wanted to ask, where do you draw the line between a character and an object? Because most of the games I play, like right now I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I have finished Zelda, beautiful game. And most of the enemies, like the main bosses, are introduced in such a way that you may only sense an energy, like a sound, maybe their voice, maybe their dialogues. The actual visuals are not exactly there, like until the very last moment in like the last 5% of the game. There are some other characters as well which might just be like machines with a certain behavior, which might not even be like actual characters in some sense. How do you define what is a character and like what is not a character? And like obviously the bosses are characters as well, but they're not shown.
Okay. I think this might be a simple answer. Anything where it has a certain story is a character. So have you played Portal?
No.
So Portal has this cube called Companion Cube. And it doesn't talk, it doesn't do anything. There is no story building, nothing. But it just, you carry it. And when it's lost, the narrative about it being lost is communicated and you feel connected to it. And for that, it was a character. So a story was built.
So like the participation in the play or like the role that plays, that makes sense, I think.
So that was a creative choice that was done. I've never really seen so much, but yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah, is it really necessary to have a backstory for a character predefined, or can we grow it progressively while having dynamically? And the personality which we choose, should it be predefined or can we do it dynamically changing while progressing to the design?
So if you are doing things dynamically, then you'll always be in dynamic zone. It doesn't really, so it's a percentage, 80% to 90% try to define everything about your character during the early research phase. Little bit of freedom you can take or change if some things are not working out. Okay. But don't just, I'm going to make and keep defining. That always leads to more frustration. You might still come with the result, but 90% of the time or more than that, it doesn't really work.
Like how can we really define
You do research and breakdown, and then you write your goals. You write everything about the character, the 3 key characteristic traits. Yeah. The more you are able to define all of those things in writing and with some proper reference back, that will be helping you narrow down on what you're trying to create.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ganesh, and this is a simple question, but many people cannot figure this out. So, what are the key elements do you focus on to make a character feel memorable and lifelike? Like you showed us some silhouettes, and we are like, after seeing the silhouettes only, we can figure out which character it is. So, how do you make them memorable?
Memorable. Can we have the screen back again, if possible? I came back to a slide. I think everything, as I said over here.
Okay.
The story, the world, the role and the function, the archetype, the physical appearance, the silhouette and proportions, and the visual style. Everything has to be considered.
But there are a few elements which make them unique. Like if you see Venom Snake from Metal Gear Solid, he has an eye patch, one scar here, and one headband also. So, what are the elements?
So, let's say we talked about Venom Snake, right?
Yeah.
The story is he loses an eye.
Yeah.
And the function for that design would be he'll wear an eye patch.
Okay.
So you took story and the background as a certain experience, and you made a design functionally where you're designing an eye patch.
Okay, so story and
everything would come back over here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? Oh, there's one.
Hello again.
Hi, Tejas.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, how much would you let your art style define the character design?
Art style is a very core component.
in the very base of the character design, do you let the art style define things like personality and stuff as well, or the other way around?
The personality has to be expressed through the art style. So if that's an answer, the personality is defined earlier and then it's expressed through the art style.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess if we have the time. All right, all right. I guess
hello.
we can take only a couple of more questions. This one and one more after this. Then we'll have to wind it up. Please go ahead.
Okay, can you just elaborate more on realistic art style? I mean, I'm myself a 3D artist, but I'm like facing problem between realistic and semi-realistic artwork.
Anything that is you can see in the real world is called real. Like real means we are pretty much taking it as a metaphor where whatever you're seeing in the real world, what you visually see is called the real world art style. It has to look real. It's as, I mean like, how else can I explain that? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
or no?
But, I just wanted to like know more how I can just put more realism to my character.
Do you have your artwork?
Yeah.
You can show it. I'll probably see some example and probably understand your question better.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
All right, are we good? The last one.
Hi, this is Abhinav.
Hi, Abhinav.
So my question was, have you ever tried breaking the color theory? Or does it make it difficult for the end audience, like seeing it as a convincing idea?
If you're breaking the color theory, I have not tried to do that because I like to work with proper rule sets. I mean, that makes it easier to take decisions. Okay. But if the decision is to break color theory, then the balance should be around that. But you cannot have a design which is not balanced because it will not work.
Okay, yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, so the flow of questions indeed proved that how amazing this talk was. Let's clap for Ankit, guys.
Thank you.